Before we get going with today's insightful conversation, we have a brief but special personal branding story to share. That's of a journalist turning into an actor who once led top Indian digital newsrooms and is now set to make his Bollywood debut with Baida. Coming to cinemas this March, it is the first of its kind sci-fi supernatural thriller set in India's Hindi heartland. The storyline weaves together distinct elements such as time travel and ancient Indian heritage like Santoor and Sanskrit. The intriguing first motion drop of Baida is out, and the details are into the description box. Do watch after this show. Now, getting back to our guest, the studios. Welcome to the Collaborative Canvas. Today we have an esteemed guest, Andy Miles. Andy is the co-founder of Hollrs, a platform redefining how brands connect with their audience. With over 20 years of experience in the market research, in the consumer research, customer experience, and the employee experience, Andy has held many key positions at Synovate and Ipsos. He later managed a consulting business with the clients such as JD Power and Renault. In recent years, Andy transitioned to a leadership in SaaS product and partnered network development at Confirmit, which later became Froster. Now, with Hollrs, the team's mission is to bring authentic conversation and actionable insights to the forefront of the consumer engagement. Holler aims to unite people, enabling brands and organizations to truly connect with the collective voice of their audience. With a focus on authentic conversations in real time, and driving the moment in the action. Hollrs emphasize video-first feedback, allowing consumers to share their ideas, enjoying organic conversations and vibrant communities. By engaging and leveraging AI and network analysis, Holler identifies trends, monitors sentiments, and deliver actionable insights to help brands evolve during their decision-making process. The Holler app provides user with a social space to engage with brands, share thoughts, and participate in a real-time conversations. And you love what we do here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so that you never miss an update. And hey, share thoughts in the comments below because that is what I'm missing from most of those conversation. And we love to hear your thoughts from, how do you like it? So let's dive in right into it. Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks, Ankesh. Thank you for having me.
And Andy, I mean, when we saw, when we first spoke about it, I was, given a chance to actually look into your product. And the first instinct came to my mind that, it is just, click a video, say whatever you want to do, and that video gets recorded. And it's more like, a very social media kind of a platform where you're just pushing out the way you do it on every other platform. How this idea came to the picture and, understanding consumer emotions through just what they feel right at the space where they are, you're capturing a lot of meaningful insights from there. So how this idea came to the picture initially?
I mean, in terms of how the idea came about, we wanted to get away from a point in time where it was only the questions that you wanted to ask, and it was only surveys that are the only thing new at all. And there's a time and a place for those measured transactional surveys, of course, but we wanted to give people a real listening post where they could say what they wanted to say and when they wanted to say it in the moment. The idea actually came about many years back, actually, when I lived in a reasonably sized house, and I got a very large gas bill that didn't make any sense, and there was nothing really we could do about it because of the size of the organization that we were dealing with. So we had a conversation, my wife and myself, about how we would put together a group of people that might be having the same problem and how you would get those common themes between people that were having the same problem and how you could put those together into a group. And that might seem like a negative approach, but we found that actually feedback on the platform is 50-50, positive, negative. But it was about giving everybody the same level of voice and being able to say what they wanted to say when they wanted to say it.
And I think the video first approach enhances the authenticity as well, and the depth of the customer feedback, compared to the traditional feedback. But we have questionnaires in place when we speak about it, and here the respondents are just opening up their video and they're recording whatever they feel. How do you compile all these informations together? Because every single consumer speaks about a different brand altogether, and then collating all those questions or those videos in place and then deriving insights, how this is possible, at a certain point of time.
I mean, we're at an inflection point really within research in terms of qualitative data being an unruly beast. There is no such thing really with the advent of large language models and how that's come along in the past couple of years and how easy that is to implement and use and how that's become sort of part of today's everyday toolkit for everyone, really. It's like having that person that looks over your shoulder and checks your work for you. So we're able to use large language models and AI techniques to be able to dig through the videos that we get. We transcribe all of those videos. We look at the sentiment behind them so that we can then categorize them. But we also use the most powerful tool for categorizing data, which is a human being. So at the point where you leave your video, you very much give it a title, much like you would with a YouTube video. And you tag that video and you can tag it with the brand. In order to get that to the brand, well, a brand can own a hashtag, essentially, or a set of words that are aligned with their brand. Renault, for example, we've mentioned before. Renault could own Renault. They could own Renault Clio. And that's how we deliver the feedback to the brands. It's also how we create the community groups that we call huddles. And by commenting on a brand or an organization or a political movement, you are filtered towards those huddles so that you can then automatically be a part of that group where the chat can happen with the brand. I guess I could also say, you can also search for organizations on Hollrs that you might want to talk about. Let's say the Labour Party, because that's quite poignant at the moment in the UK. But you could go and search for the Labour Party, see if they've got a presence on Hollrs, and then in order to join their community group, the price of entry is actually just your opinion. So you can then leave a quick video and give something that gives that authentic response that's got that emotional depth to it.
And since we spoke about the Holler app, I mean, I think the process of the recruitment, as much as I've seen over different brand promotions that the company does, you'd probably be pushing the QR codes onto the LinkedIn and other social media sites. How do you otherwise reach out to those individuals to download these app, and what is your mode of recruitment in this case?
So in terms of our mode of recruitment, we have created essentially a small social network, and it was designed to be a small social network. Everybody is already talking about your brand. If you are a large brand, they are talking about you, and that's very difficult to manage in a social space. It's very difficult to be able to respond to all those things or actually filter it through to you, and it filters off and it disappears into dark social. In terms of recruitment, what we're saying to the organizations that we're working with is bring your people on board through, as you mentioned, QR codes, which are a way that we do that. We have a web intercept that you can include. We can include us in your email so that you're bringing your audience to the platform and saying, look, if you come and talk to us here, this is where we can engage with you. This is where we can really have that conversation and where we can make the changes that you want to see that are either going to consistently improve your situation or allowed us to build on the successes that we've had based on your feedback.
And you also mentioned about the transactional process, and when it comes to creating the community based out of it. So there's a huddle which happens, and then during the recruitment process, you probably identify people for the huddle, and from there, um, it's kind of you create a focus group for the client.
It's
Um,
essentially a focus group. Yeah, yeah, you're spot on. You're sat behind the one-way mirror, so to speak, in the huddle, and you can watch the conversation as it's going on the individual hollers and the comments that are going underneath them, or within the huddle itself, where you can have those direct conversations. And we have a roadmap to build out enhanced data capture and data interrogation within those huddles, including things like polls, including things like product responses, for example, where we're going to be able to show images. But in the meantime, all of the videos that are available to people within the huddle. They're also available to your employees. So your employees can go in and they can all see the brand feedback and have that delivered to them, whether rubber hits the road on the shop floor, all the way up through your executive, up to your C-suite. All of this feedback is now in your hands so that you can use it on a daily basis.
Andy, just talk about in terms of the technology. I mean, this I think this is pretty unique in the nature. We've seen a lot of social media sites where we upload the videos and we do it for fun. So I think one advantage which I as a no, as a user sees that I'm putting up my responses out on different things. I saw there a couple of videos where people are actually going into a shop and they're clicking pictures and they're talking about this is what they love about it, this is they don't love about it. And then on the other side, when the client actually sees it from the perspective of where their brand is being shown on a shelf is being taken up by the respondents or not, how much they are appealing when they're in a shop, or what's unique thought that consumer is thinking when they are actually with the brand interface. What is that one single benefit that you actually bring to the consumers who are using your app, and to the brand who are actually seeking your consumers while they're actually giving feedback for that brand?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I would say it's about having a connection, and putting the power to almost be an influencer into everybody's hands. So on Hollrs, everybody is equal. So you can have followers, but your opinion isn't necessarily weighted by the amount of followers that you have. You can be someone very famous on a TikTok or an X, and when you say something, millions of people hear it. But the idea behind Hollrs was to get that to the point where every single opinion on anything really is important. And we're giving you that connection directly to the brand, and giving the brand those tools so that they can interact with those people on an individual basis, and really drive action and take every piece of information and drive action, which is at the core of what Hollrs wants to do. So scores like SNPS and NPS and your CSAT surveys, they're all important. They're valid for being able to track your brand over time. But I think a lot of us will have seen that those scores plateau. And I've myself worked on programs where an NPS score hasn't changed for several years. Everybody's happy with it because it meets the targets, but you're not actually making any continual improvement. So how do you get to the point where you can find the answers for what it is you need to do improve? And you can't know what you don't know, and you can't know what you don't ask. So our solution to that was to stop asking. Let's not ask people questions. Let's have them say what's on their minds. So, for example, we were talking about this earlier, Ankesh. I have worked in automotive extensively. I have opinions on Bentleys. I do not own a Bentley. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to own a Bentley, but I do not. So my opinions on Bentley are valid. And as a luxury maker, if they can get those opinions from everyone, that's incredibly valuable, because luxury goods, as to be able to comment on. So everybody's opinion on something is valid, whether they use that brand or whether they do not use that brand.
Indeed, indeed. And when you were talking about Bentley, I was actually thinking about your Renault's experience, um, because the app is not limited to one or the other industry. You're covering almost every aspect of every other industry, because it's a instant reaction from from a customer who's using that product or services for that matter. Uh, Considering that it's already a social media platform and there are tons of it in the market already, in your exclusivity is about the feedbacks that they get, the brands get from the customer. In this increasingly competitive landscape, how does you think Holler is keeping the brand agile and very innovative in terms of what they have to bring up onto the table for the consumers, and what are those unique advantages that you can offer to the organizations looking at differentiate themselves with others?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I touched on before is about being able to take action, importantly, based on those conversations that you can have in real time with an individual within the huddle, or as a group, and you can do both of those things. Using the tools, you can start to see trends based on the community about what's being said. We can break that down. I think the term you used was hyper localized. Well, yes, we can tag every point of feedback, and we ask users to do that. But obviously asking users to share their location as well. So we can start to see a build-up of where your audience is, where there's satisfaction and dissatisfaction. And we can actually pin things down to bricks and mortar locations, even if they are multi-tenant. We see a lot of stores these days that are branching out, and due to the way things have gone on the high street, you have groups of stores that have clubbed together and they are in a single location. So we can manage all of that and get you down to that individual location, whether that's through a QR code or whether that's through the user just using the mapping function. I think what we're also giving you is a point of continuous engagement. So as I said before, with the tracking studies, you have those, but we know what it's like with a research program. You think of your questions, you program your survey, you send them out, and you get your answer to your question. But there may be a gap between that. What we want to do is augment that and give you a point of contact throughout the entire journey. What are you getting back? Well, you're getting emotional content. You're getting people's faces in these videos. Or if they don't want to show their faces, they're obviously willing to, they can turn their camera around, they can point at the issue. So for a car manufacturer, for example, to be able to see a point of failure that might be happening across the fleet, it's absolutely vital for them to be able to see those in real life and be able to get hold of them without it having to wait to go to a dealer. They can deal with that and arrange those things. So we're really giving you sort of an integrated platform that fits with your tracking studies, that allows you to have a full understanding of your audience, and where you don't understand, giving you the ability to be able to ask those audience members questions in real time, and in result, they're going to feel valued. We've started looking at incentives for people who are, say, the hard side of the network, the people who commit the most content and the most value to the brands, but a lot of the user feedback that we've had is actually just taking part. It's quite a cathartic process, and that brand engagement where you feel like you are doing something for the brand, that you're making a difference to something that you care about because you spend your money with them, or that you're improving things for the group as a whole. That gives a really sort of symbiotic benefit to both the brand and to the user.
Sounds like a complete plan around it where that brand can actually use it. I mean, honestly, I've been using it as a consumer, so I know it is available in India. Where the all countries that you actually have the app ready and people can use them?
Cracky. Well, it's released in both of the larger app stores, so Google and Apple, for example. It's available in hundreds of countries, and we've built it on a flexible piece of technology that allows us to deal with all those data issues that come across from having a global platform. We have currently not been told that we can't go into any countries, but there are regions of the world where apps where you can say anything that on your mind are less appropriate. So currently available everywhere. But I would expect that in some markets where controls are stricter, we will start to see that we won't be able to have some of those markets on board. But let's say I get 95% of the world should be covered.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been using this app for a while now, and it's an easy app to use. Of course, there are a lot of algorithms being run behind to understand as a consumer what I'm thinking and how I can my opinions can be leveraged to make a product more usable for others, and how I can also benefit as a consumer while using this app. So if you're a client, or if you're an agency who wanted to try new things about how to collect human emotions, I think you should, contact Andy Miles about how Holler works. And we tried covering a lot, these valuable insights about Hollers and how they perform and transform consumer feedback into meaningful conversations and innovations. I think you should also talk about how it is useful for you. And for that, I will share Andy's detail at the end of the video. But if you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button or subscribe to the channel for more inspiring conversations with the industry leaders. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Drop them in the comment below. I love to hear from you. And if you have found this episode helpful, make sure to share it with your network or more people who can join the conversation. And thanks for tuning in again, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Collaborative Canvas. Thank you so much, Andy. And we'll look forward to working with you on this amazing app. And I wish all the success for yourself.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Ankesh.